Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on cloud computing. Subject code is KCS 713. Myself Rekha Baghel, Assistant Professor, Computer Science and Engineering Department, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today's lecture is IAM Security Standard. So in this lecture, first I will discuss about the need of the IAM security standard, how IAM fulfills this need, and the importance of the IAM security standards. So basically IAM basically refers to the identity and access management. So in short, we say that it is IAM. So basically, IAM is belongs to the cyber security discipline, and it deals with the how the user can access the resources and what they can do with their resources. So this is resource access management, and the control is provided by the IAM. So basically, IAM systems keeps hackers away from the resources, or we can say this IAM security standards ensure that each individual user has the exact permission they need to do their jobs and not more than that. So this controlling phenomena is provided by IAM. So we can take an example like any company have different types of users. So we can divide these users into two categories. First is human user and second one is non-human users. So basically, human users are the persons like employees, customers, and the contractors are the human-like users. And if we say that non-human users, so non-human users are those which can access the resources, which can use the resources like boats and IoT devices, endpoint devices, and automated workloads. So these comes into the category of non-human users. So these human and non-human users access the resources. So how we can provide the control, or how we can control these users using IAM. So in today's scenario, the employees of a company are working in a work from home, or you can say it's in remote work. They are doing the remote works, and cloud computing means they can access the resources from the clouds. So the resources are increasing, or the users are increasing distributed, and so the resources that they need to access. So we need to provide the some control mechanism to all the users which are working remotely, or using the cloud resources, so that the resources will be secured. So when the employees are working in a remote way, or using the cloud resources in cloud resources from the remote work, so organization are facing struggle to keep track of what all the users are doing with the applications, and assets scattered across on premises, remote, and cloud based locations. So this lack of control possesses some serious risk for a company. So the hackers can take the advantage of this remote work, or the accessing of the resources from the users who are working remotely, and cloud based locations. So we can say that malicious insiders can abuse their access rights, or malicious employees can take the advantage of their right to access the resources. Even benign users can accidentally violate data protection regulations. So this whole concept raises the need of the IAM, identity and access management. So IAM basically initiatives can help streamline access control, protecting assets without disrupting authentic uses of those assets. So identity and access management systems assign every user a distinct digital identity with permissions that are tailored to the user's role, compliance needs and other factors. So in this IAM, we are providing the digital identity to every users, and by this digital identity, we assign the user's role, means how much access we how much resources a user can access based on this digital identity. So in this way, the IAM ensure that the right users can access the right resources for the right reason, and while unauthorized users cannot access the resources or they are blocked. So for this IAM, basically the main purpose of IAM to keep away or stop hackers to use the resources, and only authorized users can access the resources, and they can do their task or they can do everything they need to assign, or they can allowed to use, they are allowed to use the resources, but in a limited way, means at which role they have only that particular role they can use the resources. Outside that role means if for example, we will take an example in further slides. So in this IAM considers IAM have the main 4 components. First components is identity lifecycle management. Second is access control. Third one is authentication and authorization. And the last one is identity governance. So these are the 4 main components of IAM. So first component is identity lifecycle management. So identity lifecycle management is the main process of creating and maintaining the digital identity of the user. So this identity, this digital identity is used to identify a user, whether it is applicable for both the users, like if it is a human user or a non-human user. So this digital identity is used to monitor the user activity and applied the particular permissions. Organization need to differentiate between the individuals users. So this digital identity, by this digital identity we can identify the individual user of the organizations. So the IAM does this by assigning each user a digital identity. So what is this digital identity? So basically digital identities are the collection of distinguishing attributes that tell the system who or what user is. So what each user is. So basically digital identity have some particular attributes by which we can identify a particular users. So identity, these identities includes the different attributes like users name, login credentials, ID number, job title and the access rights. So these are the few attributes our digital identity includes. So digital identities are these digital identity of each user are stored in some database or directory, and these IAM systems uses this database to identify or validate the users and determine what it will and would not allow to do. So based on these digital identities, the IAM systems find out how much access is given to the particular user and how much resources this user can access. So, in some IAM initiatives, IT or cyber security teams manually handle user onboarding, updating identities over time, and offboarding or deprovisioning users who leave the systems. In some companies, this work is totally manually handled by the teams. While some organizations uses the self-service approach, users supply their information and the system automatically creates their digital identity and sets the appropriate label of access. So, this is the identity lifecycle management. In this identity lifecycle management, the identity related to user is created and maintained by the IAM. Next one is access control. So, basically access control means we are in IAM, the whole concept is the users can access the resources only what they are allowed to use, not more than that. So, this provision can be provided by the maintaining the access control. So, distinct identities not only help organizations to track users, but also enable companies to set and enforce more general access policies. So, IAM allows companies to grant different system permissions to different identities rather than give every authorized user the same privileges. So, in this by using the IAM, the label of privileges are different to the different users. At the lower level, the privileges are less, and at the higher level, the privileges are more. So, in today's many IAM systems use role based access control, access control like RBAC. Role based access control. In a role based access control, each user's privileges are based on their job function and the label of responsibilities. So, in a role based access control helps streamline the process of setting user permissions and mitigates the risk of giving users higher privileges than they need. If the user have in this we are providing the only those resources to the users based on their job profile. Like we can take an example, like there is a company which is setting permissions for a network firewall. So, a sales representative would not have access to all the resources because they don't need it for their performing their job. So, they have very less permissions to the resources. So, if we are saying that so we can talk like junior level security analyst the access rights. So, junior level security analyst might be able to view the firewall configurations, but he is not able to change them. The junior level analyst can see the security settings, but he cannot change. But as we can say that like if we move to the higher level, if there is a chief information security officer Cisco, if there is a Cisco, then he would have full administrative rights. He can see the settings, he can change the settings, and API that integrates the company's SIM with the firewall might be able to read the firewall activity logs, but it cannot, but it see nothing else. Okay, so based on the label of jobs, we assign the rights to access the resources and rights to modify the resources. So, this is the access control. Like for the added security, IAM systems may also apply the principle of least privileged to user access permissions. So, in this concept is known as the zero trust cyber security strategies. Zero trust cyber security strategies are also known as the principle of least privileged. So this concept of least privileged is saying that the users would have only the lowest permissions necessary to complete a task. We assign the resources, or we assign the some permissions to the users to we are assigning the least permissions to the users, so that they can only complete their task, nothing else. When they complete their task, the privileges, we take back the privileges from the users. So this is known as the least privilege principle. So in keeping with the principle of least privileged, many IAM systems have distinct methods and methodologies for privileged access management, PAM. So it is this is PAM is we are assigning the users, we are assigning the resources to the users, or we are assigning the privileges to the users, how much resources they can access. So this the privileged accounts, these privileged accounts are treated more carefully than other IAM rules, because if the hacker theft these credentials, they can do whatever they want to do. So these privileged access controls are or these privileged accounts are very important for the company. So safety of these accounts are very critical for the company. So these PAM tools isolate privileged identities from the rest using credentials, vaults, and just-in-time access protocols for extra security. Information about each user's access site is usually stored in the IAM system central database, and as part of the user's digital identity. So IAM systems uses this information to enforce each user's distinct privilege labels. So this is the access control. Authentication and authorization. So basically, authentication and authorization are how IAM systems apply the different access control mechanism as a practice. So this authentication, we can say authentication is a process to determine that a user, human or non-human, is who they claim to be. Means we need to identify the user, it is if it is a valid user or invalid user. So when a user logs into a system or the request access to the some resources, they need to some credentials to the vouch for their identity. For example, if a human user logged in his account, so he need to enter a password and a username. If it is a non-human user, so he need to share a digital certificate. These IAM systems check these credentials against the central database. So the username and password entered by the user and the combination of username and password are checked against the entries stored in the database. If they matched, the access is granted. If they are not matched, then the access is not granted. So while a username and password combination is the most basic form of authentication, so it is the, we can consider it is the weakest combination also. The hackers can break these can easily find the password, or now different types of mechanism are available to guessing the password of a user. So for that reason, most IAM implementations today use more advanced authentication mechanism or authentication methods. So these authentication methods are like first one is multi-factor authentication, MFA. So, multi-factor authentication, rather than only using the username and password, this multi-factor authentication provide two or more authentication factors to prove their identity. Like the common in today's scenario, we are using the we are this if we log into the some bank account, so we get some OTP to our phones. So this is the another common factor to that can be used for authentication. So only username and password is not sufficient. We need to input the OTP that we have received from bank to our mobile phone. Second one is single sign on. So single sign on means we can use a single credentials to log in our different multiple applications and services, one set of login credentials. So a single sign on portals authenticate the user and generates a certificate or takes that act as an security key for other resources. So single sign-on systems can open protocols like security assertion markup languages to share keys freely between different services providers. So next one is adaptive authentication. So adaptive authentication, in adaptive authentication, also known as the risk based authentication, in this they use the AI and machine learning to analyze the user behavior and change authentication requirements in real time. So the user logging in from their usual devices and the location may only need to enter their password. If they change the devices or they access the devices from the different locations, they need to the same user logging in from an untrusted devices or trying to view especially sensitive information may need to supply more factors, as the user is now engaging in the risky behavior. So this is the last one is identity governance. So identity governance is the process of tracking what users to do with access rights. So identity governance is important for regulatory compliances. Companies typically draft their access policies to align with security mandates like general data protection regulations or the payment card industry data security standards. So by tracking the user activity, IAM systems help companies ensure that their policies work as they intended to do. So IAM systems can also produce audit trials to help companies prove compliance or pinpoint violations as they need. So this is the importance of the IAM. So IAM is important for digital transformation, workplace identity and access management, IT management, and network administrator, regulatory compliances, and network and data securities. So it is whole about the IAM security standards, and this is an important tool to provide the right access to the user, so that the malicious user cannot access the resources of the some organizations. Thank you.